Hey folks, Mike here with Chasing Trail. Out for a ride on a Saturday. It's overcast, but it's supposed to clear up later today. Not raining. Finally getting a break in the weather. Feels good to be on the bike. I gotta tell you, all the rain and stuff we've had this year has kind of been getting to me. I'm really ready for some sun again and hoping we get a proper spring. It's been a very wet year for California. We needed the water, but the lake's damn near full and I'm over all this rain. Headed out to my parents' house and go for a ride with my dad. So I'm an analyst by trade. That's what I do for a living. So I like looking at data and researching and looking at numbers and getting things to make sense. And I have made this mistake repeatedly with motorcycles and cars and all kinds of things in my personal life. Yep, that's what we didn't want. Always pay attention. I was expecting that guy to do that. Always assume that someone's going to do the stupid thing that you're worried they might do, and then you won't be caught with your pants down. I assume someone's going to pull out in front of me until they don't. I also try to ride basically pretending that I'm invisible, just assuming no one sees me. Cars turning left in front of a motorcycle is one of the most dangerous things. So anytime I see someone sitting there, I'm watching them very closely. In any case, I've done this repeatedly where I'll do a ton of research, I'll watch countless hours of videos, read articles, pore over spec sheets, look at all this stuff, and I'll get something. You know, I'm looking at suspension travel, wheel size, fuel tank size, capabilities, comfort. Does it have this feature, that feature? Does it have ABS? Does it have traction control? Does it have this and that? Going over all these things and trying to find something that is the most practical solution to a problem. I also have, I think it's a form of retardation. I can't imagine something. And this is a hard thing to describe. Like, I can picture things in my head. I can visualize things. And oftentimes I have to, like, when I was trying to understand how motors work, I went through a lot of videos and about carburetors and fuel injection, 4-stroke versus 2-stroke. I have to be able to see how that works. And I found some really cool videos. One where a guy does maybe I'll link those up wherever. One where a guy has a transparent carburetor and it's really fast, and he does it in super slow-mo, and it's really fascinating to actually see how a carburetor is working. And same with motors. I found another guy that basically has cut a couple motors in half, a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke, and then can show you exactly how these motors operate. And I find that stuff incredibly useful. It really helps me to visualize what's happening. Here again, someone's pulling out, so I'm watching them very closely. And I'm already, as soon as I see that vehicle, I'm already thinking about what are my options. Can I go right? Is there room to go left? What do I need to do if this guy pulls out? Anyway, but if I try to imagine like myself in something, what is the vacation going to be like? What is this motorcycle going to be like? What is this trip or taking it to this place? How is that going to be or feel? I can't do it. I have no concept of what something is going to be like until I experience it. I have tried and tried, and this has affected every aspect of my life. Something there. Watch out. Anyway, another BMW rider behind me. There's some little thing on the ground. Didn't look like a tire popper, but looked like a socket end or something. This has affected a lot of other aspects of my life, like trying to imagine what a work situation would be like if we moved to another location, if we lived in a different house. I can't picture it. I can't imagine. I've tried and I've thought, okay, yeah, I know, yeah, this is gonna be great, and then I go do it, experience it, and it's just completely different than what I had imagined. And I have this problem with motorcycles, so I try to think about what this is going to be like to own and ride, and I just can't. It doesn't work. Like I said, it feels like a retardation or something. My wife, on the flip side, my wife's really good at this kind of stuff. She can really like picture that experience, what living in this other house and be like, what going on this trip is and be like. She's very good at understanding that. So I'm much more impulsive. I'm like, let's just do it, YOLO, let's go. And she'll be like, well, here's what this is gonna actually be like. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I just have to experience it. She can actually think through it. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling on. This probably isn't very interesting to most of you. This is all to say that I have to buy and own a motorcycle to understand it. I can't just picture it. I have to have the experience. And I bought this motorcycle based on all the specs and capabilities and things I wanted it to do. And it will, like, this is the best motorcycle I've ever ridden. I don't think any motorcycle I buy is going to be objectively better at anything than this bike is. This bike is phenomenal. It does everything really well. The problem is it just doesn't do anything for me. The looks have grown on me, but I definitely don't love the way this thing looks. It doesn't do much for me aesthetically. I look at it and I just think of it like an appliance, like you would a moving truck. You look at it and you're like, yeah, I can put a bunch of stuff in this and haul it around and it will get me somewhere. But you don't look at a moving truck and be like, oh, that is pretty. Or think, man, I can't wait to go drive my moving truck. And that's basically how I feel about this bike. It doesn't inspire anything in me. I don't look at it and think, man, I just really want to go ride that bike. I mean, riding any motorcycle is fun. I'm having a good time right now, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't inspire me in any way. And I talked about this before I bought it, and I kind of knew this would be the case. But this is why I rambled on about the inability to picture things. I have to have the experience. I don't treat motorcycles as any kind of investment. They are a depreciating asset. I use my disposable income for these bikes. I am otherwise pretty fiscally conservative, you could say. I don't have any other debt. I only have one. All we have is our mortgage. We don't have car payments. I don't have credit card debt. I don't have any other debt. So I do set aside disposable income to use for my motorcycle hobby. And all hobbies are expensive. So I don't look at it in terms of like, oh, I'm gonna lose money on this or that. Am I having fun? Like, this is my fun money. Can I have fun? That's all I care about. I think a lot of motor vloggers just end up rambling. I'm no different. And I had talked about this before and said, you know, it is so perfect that it ends up being kind of boring. And I feel like that's still true. Oh, a bee. Sorry, buddy. I don't want to get stung.